I'm going to shed light on like how busy we are during our student life, and sometimes that busyness can be a reason for being stuck. You can see the metaphoric image that someone walking in a loop. So I'll be talking about that. Um, First, I would like to ask a few questions. Just one question. I had a few, but I'll just concentrate it to one, considering the time. And then the outline is like I'll provide some empirical evidence based on research that what are the common mistakes students, particularly in higher education sector, they do during their study in Australia, and then some of my own understanding, and then what can help us to avoid that situation. So let's move forward. But before I start, I would like to ask students this question. Uh, do you have a clear pathway, career pathway plan? If you have, write yes in the chat box. Uh, we don't have pool enable in this webinar, and that's why I plan to have it in my slide. So all the attendees, particularly students in different years, different educational level, I'd appreciate that how many of you have a clear pathway, career pathway, a clear plan. Let me share my experience. I frequently ask this question in my classroom as well, particularly in the commencement. And I found that they have almost similar answer, like less than 5%. They have kind of aspiration that I want to work in this field or this area, but not as clear as required to be a professional, right? I'd appreciate your responses. You can raise your hand, or you can write in the chat box, or you can just, you know, um, somehow write that yes, it is partial, so it will make more interactive the session. Okay, general idea. Thank you, Asta. That's pretty good. General idea. But yes, we have still something. Let's move forward. So before I start, again, I would like to start with a warning. The warning from the CEO of LinkedIn. Recently, in a podcast, he said that future doesn't belong to fancy degrees, best colleges. Okay, if you get degrees from world best universities, according to statistics, and the CEO say that 50% in current situation in the US, 50% of graduates, they are unemployed. They are not getting their desired career. It indicates a disruption or something happening in the job market. The same indication comes from the expertise like CEO from LinkedIn. So we need to be very careful. I'll talk about this, that what could be the reason and what are the remedies to avoid these circumstances. But we are basically in a transition moment, a paradigm shift, where only the academic degrees and just, a movement without clear guideline does not help. So that is an warning. I would like to inform everyone. And also as an educator, I believe that we need to be careful and we need to be informed about all of these job contexts, because we are going to deliver. We're going to teach you, educate you, contribute, or show you pathways. So also I need to have that information. What I personally explore frequently, that the job market's requirements. And for your kind information, why this session matters, why it is important to, pay attention. Just a simple statistic. You can see there's a huge gap. I would say that 22% gap between the domestic students, domestic graduates, and international graduates in full-time employment. There might be different reasons, for example, bias, minor racism, but overall 22% gap in employment after completing their degree. This is the statistics. 74% of domestic graduate, they get enrolled, they get their job, desired job, while it is 52% for international students. So that's a 22%, 22 points gaps is pretty big. And also there is a salary deficit, $30,000 salary deficit average. So it is important to pay attention and understand why this deficit arising from. And another warning thing, like people, once they come to Australia, then they become distracted and they think that probably I need to change the courses because information coming from different channels, from friends. Without expert knowledge, we are accepting information from different channels, social media, agents, peer agents, all of that. And this is the statistics that in 2023, like 14,000 students after 12 months, they change their courses. And the rate is increasing from 2018 to 2023. The rate of changing or switching courses is increasing. So that's a problem. A great problem, like it creates a kind of financial trap. When you switch from one course to another course, that definitely does cost some money. And also sometimes for some students, it can create a visa risk if I don't select a proper course. So let's talk about the common mistakes that is happening among the higher education sector by the international students. Again, let me clarify, this focus is on the international students, not for the domestic one, because I believe that most of the audience here are international. Let's start with the mistakes, then we'll talk about what can help us and what could be the remedies and precaution from our student side, the beginning of our study. The first one, this is empirical and research based, that work and study trap. If I explain this in very clear way, that when a student come here, we understand logically we need to survive, so we need to work here. But at the same time, that work bring money and create somehow an intention to stick with work so much. And that work doesn't always, happen with or associated with the professional career that you are intended to. You can see only 12% international student during their studentship, they engage in their relevant professional job. For example, you're an IT graduate, but most probably you're working in hospitality or retail or other low skill job, which might not have clear impact in your future career. So yes, I accept we need it for our survival, but the question that are we crossing the border of survival and sticking more? At the same time, you can see that 50% of students in Australia, they're paid lower than the average of minimum wages in Australia, because when they identify the employer, those are not ethical. They identify that there is a demand from the student side to overwork or earn more, then they start exploiting. So what happened? This significantly reduced the time, well-being to our education and future career path. So that's one of the problems. The second one, like social isolation and language stagnation. You can find lots of students that are still skeptical in communicating in an environment where you got audience from your international community as well as domestic community. So that's a great problem here. You may ask the question that we don't get always opportunity to interact with the domestics, but again, it depends on our intention and how we plan our activity and job environment, right? Why it is matter? If we, I believe that you all of you agree with me that we maintain kind of like social bubble or national bubble. We used to, keep our relationship strongly with our nation friends, or maybe some people that are from the similar cultural community. While it is inevitable according to the social perspective, but at the same time, it create kind of isolation in Australian job market, that we are not transiting or we are not adopting the quality from Australian context. So that's somehow creating a problem, and that also create English language, because you can see that most of case soft skill and communication skill. I can tell you from my own interview experience. After or before submitting my PhD thesis, I attended several interviews, and I realized that above all of my expertise, scholarship, the result, the papers, and published, a significant factor is communication skill. So we identify a gap here, and that's backed by the empirical evidence. Another one, like when you progress through, let's say you started in first year, you try to survive in doing some job, you're in third year, you're about to submit your capstone thesis and about to graduate. By that time, you don't have any industry relevant experience. So what's the problem with this? If you don't have industry relevant experience, you'll end up landing in a job after your degree that is not relevant to your degree. You see that 59% of international graduates, they work outside of their team. So you graduated from social work, you graduated from business, IT, but you landed in another job, which is very common in Australia higher education context, particularly for international students. And you can see the difference between wages. Normally, at least $10 per hour wages difference when you land in an irrelevant job perspective. So that's another factor. Um, Again, you may have questioning this point that how can we have industry engagement? I'll talk about that later, but that's the reality. That's the data we're coming from. There are techniques and strategies that you can jump or you can connect with industry relevant experience during your students, particularly your senior years, right? Um, and then what I'll just briefly talk about this because that's not our total focus. Academic integrity, there are some raising concern of academic integrity. That's not my main focus, but it is also raising with the artificial intelligence and our development. So I'll just skip, but just letting you know that academic integrity have severe consequences like cancellation of visa, even sometimes I know stories that they had a contact cheating situation and later they were blackmailed that if you don't give us money, we'll reveal our conversation that you take an assessment from us. So it is not wise to engage in such activities from both legal perspective and from your social um, image perspective. This is very, very important. I would like to focus that surface learning and ignoring well-being. What is surface learning? So when we start with our first problem, that stick so much with job, not prioritizing our broader career, greater career in future, that end with like not focusing on day-to-day work, progressive activity. So we mainly focus during like lecture notes and just finishing everything right before the exam days. So that somehow may help you to, pass the unit, but that doesn't develop deep skills. So that's the problem. We are calling it surface level of study. Um, and at the same time, it impact the well-being. So you're working hard outside, you don't have a proper plan, and you suddenly got lots of assignments stack up with, and then you don't have allocated time for your mental well-being and many other factors. Like you can see some statistics from here. 31 to 54% of students are in distress, Australia. And I believe that some of you also face this kind of situation. 54% students were found like having anxiety. Although this is an old study, I believe that the QLT survey, recent survey, indicate the similar information. Almost half of the population, half of the students, they have mental anxiety and frustration issues, right? Even some cases, it resulted in like suicidal cases. So you can understand the level that if we enter this vicious cycle, what can be the consequences? And this is another factor. I believe that my GPA will get the job. But in Australia, 91% of employers, they focus on skill-based hiring. I never heard from anyone that they were asked question about their academic result. Again, please don't take these in other ways that, okay, so we should not focus on academic CGPA or good result. Definitely, if you learn deeply, if you are not a surface learner, if you learn deeply, your CGP or grades will be automatically good. So we don't need to pay attention there. In contrast, I found some students, they have really good grades, HD distinction in many of or most of their units, but they're struggling with interpersonal skills, industry neutral skills. So that's also matter. We need to just be informed of this information that good grade is a competitive advantage, but that doesn't guarantee that you'll get a job. So let's wrap up everything, all the problems together. So we have excessive work hours, according to the study and research. This is not my opinion again, this is from the empirical evidences. And then that usually cause like decline academic performance and time allocation for academic work, as well as we have social isolation behavior. So we don't engage or integrate with the Australian culture, Australian sector in terms of job culture, as well as the linguistic and other norms. At the same time, we don't develop our professional experience on our future desired career field. Overall, all of these create distresses, mental anxiety, and the result is like employment gap, uncertainty about our future and our professional journey. So this is a vicious cycle. And I would like to add one more slide about generative AI because we need to bring this in our discussion. Why we need to bring this in our discussion? Generative AI is going to be a part of us. What does that mean? What is a part of us? Currently you have your degree, you have your skills, you have your knowledge in your mind, but in future, maybe by the time you graduate and enter the job market, you need to have very clear understanding how you can use generative AI or other AI tools. That would be kind of digital literacy. Maybe 5 years back we emphasized on digital literacy. Now people are focusing on AI literacy. Although I don't believe this literacy, I believe that if you have understanding that how to solve a problem, then you can use anything, any tools. Generative AI is a simple tools, but it works like fire. You can use fire for many valuable purposes. Hopefully, all of you believe that the uh, invention or innovation of fire, the day human learn how to control fire, then our civilization has started progressing. We started melting metals and other stuff. So that's how fire is important and beneficial. But you just think that what can cause uncontrolled fire, the bushfire in Australia, or maybe someone house got burned. So Gen AI is something like fire. It can be very dangerous. It can be highly beneficial. Just reminding you why it can be it can be dangerous. Let me explain. There is a concept called cognitive offloading. Cognitive offloading means like transferring our thinking to someone else. We do this frequently, like when you're using calculator, when you're writing your daily grocery list before going to shopping, we do cognitive offloading. That's not an issue. But the issue, like if you keep doing this, losing your analytical ability, and you just ask ChatGPT, do this for me, do that for me, you blindly believe on this tool and get highly dependent, then it is a big problem. So it's up to you. And my humble request that please don't do cognitive offloading. Even it creates something called effective offloading. What is effective offloading? Like when frequently you engage with generative AI for any purposes, let's say that you are in a classroom, you're asking the question ChatGPT, not your teacher. What is the difference between these two? The difference between these two, you're getting a straight answer without proper engagement, humanistic engagement. We have different sensors, our acoustic sensor, our visual sensor, our brain and communication. So when you engage with teacher in question and answer, when we read a book, we engage all of our sensory elements and analytical abilities, what which we don't engage during the engagement or during asking a question in ChatGPT. That's very common. We mostly focus on writing the prompt and getting the answer. Oh, that's the answer, and then we are done. We undoubtedly go with that answer. So that's called effective offloading. If and research found that when people keep doing effective offloading, they can permanently lose their ability to rethink and think critically. So my advice would be cognitive offloading is another problem. Now the question, how we can get rid of all this? So some solution that you can follow. Very brief, but I think very useful. The first one you can see that's called a monkey mind. So my first advice would be getting rid of monkey mind and transfer it to mindfulness. What is monkey mind? This term came from Buddhist philosophy. Buddhist monk, they use this term monkey mind. The people who cannot think deeply and they keep jumping from ideas and ideas. So that's a metaphoric term used in Buddhist philosophy. I bring that term in our cases because I have discussed with many students and they frequently say, oh, probably this is a bad decision to study this. IT students say it would be better we could study social work. Socialist work would say IT has the more growing future because when they learn that, oh my God, all the jobs are going to be grabbed by artificial intelligence. So they feel that, oh, if we studied IT, probably we could stay more connected to artificial intelligence. So this is an indication of monkey mind. And another factor, young people, even I did so in my university life, like, chasing different ideas and not ending up that. Started something, then give up, and again started something and give up. While some cases it is good, but most of cases it end up with wasting our valuable times. So I would request that please get rid of monkey mind and be very, very deterministic. Um, there is a quote from, I think this quote from, I just forgot the country. In different nation, they have very, famous quote. For example, in the UK, they have very famous quote that if the sea is not rough, it will not create very good sailors. It is a famous quote from the UK. Similarly, a quote from another country that says that if you chase two rabbit, you will end up catching none. So be mindful and focus your target. What is the necessity of focusing your target? That's how the plan sounds. You have a plan that okay, I'll move to Australia. Maybe I'll try for residency, and I'll end up a good job because this is a developed country with lots of opportunities. So before coming to Australia, your plan was the fast emails, very straight. You're writing without any disruption, but hopefully you all realize the second image is reality, isn't it? Do you agree with me? That's the reality, I believe. Okay, even for me as well, because I came here to study and do my PhD, so it was similar experience for me. So I have lived experience. Now, how we can get? Remember, plan doesn't work. Plan or aspiration is like illusion. It's a mirrors. Some people they like frequently think about ideas and then get rid of it. So in reality, if you want to deal with this kind of obstacles and uncertainty, you need to have very micro. You see that I said micro target. Within 3 months or 6 months, you set a target for skill development or some sort of aspect, and you achieve that, and then you jump to the next one. So this will give you okay when you plan to get right on the small hill, you set a target like that. Similarly, you can learn the basic tools and then advanced technology. In this way, you can gradually enhance yourself. And that's what I call implement your career, not just plan. You understand the difference between implementation and planning. Implementation requires lots of action. So I would request you that in last 7 days or in last month, what was your implementation or what was your action that support your career, that support your plan? If you don't find any action, then that is a problem. You are still on the first image. You're thinking your career is going to be smooth like that. Or somehow your subconscious mind, forcing you because, we are driven by our sensual desire. You know, our body and our brain like to stay lazy. Both our body and our brain stay lazy, but the work doesn't work like that. So evaluate your last 3 months, 7 months, or your last 3 weeks activity. If you don't find anything that help you to implement your career, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, please set some small goals. I would not say that you target the last one. You said, okay, what you can achieve from to achieve your career, or what you can do by next 2 weeks. Set micro credential or micro goals and move forward. And please study smart. This is time to study smart, not like harder. I can remember in our class, grade 5 and grade 8 in my country, we had like the junior scholarship. So it's a very competitive exam for a scholarship. And I can remember that the only way was like remembering thing. You have the books and you go through. If you're a student can memorize everything, you can probably get that scholarship. Uh, but today's world doesn't work like that. So focus on active retry. When you have a problem, like, okay, you don't understand difficult topic, you can use the technique called chunking or spacing. Okay, machine learning, it's a critical topic. So you can just split into just a simple formula and learn that in one day. And then gradually apply the Kaizen method. Japanese people, they apply this gradual development, but every day. Small development, but every day. That's called Kaizen in Japanese. So you can use that technique. You can do something called interleaving. When you are bored, learning same topic. I have this issue. When I'm trying to learn machine learning, after a few weeks, I get bored. So I stop that for a while and I switch to another topic. And then I do back and forth. So this concept is called interleaving. So that can help you to get rid of boredom. Same topic, learning same topic sometimes can bring boredom to us. So you can do interleaving. So these are some technique. And please allocate in a day, allocate some time for phone blocks. Keep your phone totally blocked. I remember my PhD thesis writing days. I used to keep my phone from the morning to evening or sometimes afternoon in a different room. So I'll not lie that, okay, I'm a person, I can control my behavior, okay, and I'm advising you. I'm like you. I had the same issue. What I used to do, I took my phone, place in another room to get rid or to avoid any kind of influence from these phones, right? And definitely protect your sleep and mental well-being. Today, you may, feel that, okay, I can wake up midnight. You're playing game just for some pleasure, and you're waking up in the morning. So very tiny part of sleep, but that was very severe impact in your brain for long term. So please don't um, compromise with your sleep. And one more thing, develop. So along with your study, I always recommend you please develop true AI skill, not just asking a question, rather critical prompting. You use data, use different sort of context, and ask very difficult question to AI, and then evaluate it. So if you're focusing on prompting, that should be your skill. And definitely try to learn machine learning, coding, there are different sort of techniques, and for example a machine learning crash course free available in Google. Any students from business, regardless of their background, they can learn this for free. Just allocate a small part of your time that you are currently probably spending on scrolling. You reduce that because your scrolling is not going to give you any return except waste of time. So reduce that and allocate that time to learn something new. And definitely, if you get opportunity from any field, I'm telling again, from social work, from business, and from IT, any field, please use AI and do some project. For example, social work team, you can try to use qualitative analysis using artificial intelligence, or you can use sort of activities to do some project using artificial intelligence, like storytelling. Business people, you can do data analytics or business intelligence using AI tools. So please do some project during your students beyond your capstone and other projects. Just remember, be a collaborator, not a replacement by artificial intelligence. I believe the time is like going to be very short. I'll quickly jump through all of these. So what you should do, you should also expand your network, like deliberately make local friends. It's whenever you get an opportunity to join a co-curricular activity, we have lots of activities at Sydney Met. So please join them. Those are going to help you to develop your interpersonal skill. Uh, Whenever you get chance to meet cross-cultural environment, please go and meet cross-cultural environment. And for your future, please keep ready your resume, your cover letter, sometimes attend mock interviews, and definitely try to stay connected with the alumni networks. We already have students, they have graduated, they started jobs. Definitely we'll take initiative from Sydney to have an alumni network. We have Charlene here, so I'm seeking attention to Charlene. Please keep this that we'll establish our alumni network so we, our student can stay connected with them. And um, I'll just quickly jump this to here. Let's have a plan. 3 years. What you must not avoid in your first year, please have your career blueprint. Most of you said that a general idea. That's not going to work. You need to have your career blueprint by your year one, by your first week of your study. That might be a bit, dropped, but please have one. By second year, seek work integrated learning or industry replacement. If people from remote villages in your country, they can work in they can work remotely in software engineering or other fields, why not you in being Australian? You can find people who are doing freelancing from remote villages in your country, then why not you? So don't argue that, okay, I don't have anyone, I don't know anyone, I can start working in industry, but try to find something that is relevant to your future job sector. Um, and definitely, by year three, I would say that you need to have a plan to land in an internship. Anyhow, if we start the initiative in year two, in your second year, you can land in year 3 with an internship. Let me share a very practical experience. My friend got an IT firm here in Australia, and sometimes he interview people, and he shared with me that when people apply for internship, we at least need some sort of skill, basic skill, so that we can bring that person and then develop or enhance our skill or his skill over that. But the thing, most of the application they get without zero understanding of the industry context and industry skill. So please at least develop some skill that can help you to tell or request the industry or an organization to give you an opportunity by year 2. And by year 3, you'll land up in an internship. Also, please, in Australian context, try to stay connected as much people as you can and expand your network. Remember these 3 things. If you keep sticking with the work and fall in the trap, that's going to widen the gap, and it is irreversible because we cannot bring back the time. And the key lever is not your degree, it's your behavior, how you live, how you behave, how you act. That is going to be the determinant of your success. So please control your behavior, your actions, because mistakes in Australia has long tail. If you do mistakes here, you're gonna have long tail. That's all from my side. I think I'm within the time. And now, if people got any question, I'll allocate next 10 minutes or 5 minutes for question and answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bodhi. I think that was a very informative session. Not only that, it gave a reality check to all of the students because you were talking about facts. So, students, do you have any questions that you would like to ask Dr. Bodhi? I think this is the right time.
Yes, so you can write in chat box or you can
Yeah.
unmute and speak. And also, when you ask a question in this type of environment, that is also indication of your interpersonal skill.
Maybe this is the right time you ask about tips for your
Yeah.
internship or even just building your career because he's a very expert in this. Any questions?
One
Um,
question here.
yeah, please go ahead.
I will be graduating in May. I'm looking for a graduate accountant job at the moment. But what
Yep.
I feel like is as an international student, all the big corporates would not prefer international students because they know that we're not going to be staying longer than 2 years, or they need to like do a lot of more paperwork just to get us employed. So like, how do I get through those?
Thank you for your question. And this is, I think, a growing issue and common question among all of the students that the opportunities are limited. So what I suggest in that case that sometimes I found that instead of targeting big organization, if we target a small organization, maybe a small farm, within somehow our connection, maybe you know someone and they got a farm, small farm, the job market doesn't look for like how big the company you work for. They look that you had a role and you work for something from a fresh graduate. So if you can manage something for any type of organizations, let me share my experience. During our studentship, we did our own organization because we failed to, get industrial attachment. So we founded a small IT firm and we started doing work for our own firm. And look at Zuckerberg and others. They also did so, but they succeeded. So there might be different approaches of securing. When you get rejection from one, then you move to another one.
Yeah, and the follow-up question's gonna be like, I don't have any experience or any type of internship at all. Like, what can I appeal if I get to the interview? Because I have no skill. So, how do I convince the
The first,
company to
the
hire
first thing you
me?
should not say the company or the people that I don't have any skill. Definitely, you studied many units. So you have like accounting. You told about accounting. So I believe that you have that abilities to perform or bookkeeping skills. All of those. So whatever information you already have and the knowledge you already have, try to present that. So the company thinks, okay, we can utilize this skill. No one graduate with experience, so
Yeah.
you need to. And just a follow-up question from my side, you have capstone projects.
I've already did the capstone project, but
So
that
the
was
cap
more
the cap
based on the entrepreneurship than accounting, so I don't think
and
that helped me in any way.
that's I understand, but what I suggest always my students,
Mm-hmm.
that do your capstone project on your intended career sector, but
Yeah.
still try to think and review all of your units that you already completed, and you believe on yourself because you
Mm-hmm.
completed many units. So you sell that skill that, okay, I know this.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Some more question. IT student, what skill recommend we at college? Someone who wants to become a data analyst. Definitely, you need to focus on artificial intelligence related things, machine learning and artificial intelligence related things. I'll share this slide with all the participants through the proper channel. So I provided a link there, machine learning cross. So that's an example. You can also Google. Because I believe that the more focus or more job opportunities would be in IT related, the AI related, artificial intelligence related. Nivesh asked the question, who have just started course but have some experience in certain field, do you think you can get a job in IT field now? Or I always believe, because I have my students who are ending up professional job. And who are those? Basically, during their student second year and third year, they demonstrated solid involvement and solid, devotion to learn skill, doing projects. During their third year, they demonstrated really two or three. I can tell you student name, but that would be a bias here, like who created really good project, and we are confirmed that they are going to land up in good jobs. So the difference is not the degree. The difference how you learn those things. We are teaching here, okay, Python loops and everything. Now your role to apply the Python loop and apply it into data science or data analytics somewhere. Right? So that's how definitely IT can give you a job. As you go to sophisticated field, the competition will be always high. Remember that. But you need to acquire that skill. That's very easy equation. Pratik said, how can you improve performance at the same time, grow our skill in the workplace within time bound? Yeah, that's a very good question, Pratik. I know that you started a role here, or many of us. So what I used to do during my career, sometimes I sacrifice my weekends. Let me tell you, sometimes I sacrifice the recreational thing that I could do, but I sacrifice that and I employ my time in skill development, maybe writing a paper or something else. It ended up in good result. So when you do sacrifice in your student life, you put stress and effort, you go beyond the typical plan, that always results something good. Nothing extraordinary come without extraordinary effort. Pradeep, that is my suggestion and my realization. Sumitra asks that inside the yeah, definitely. I would love to. If you want to meet me, you can just send me an email. Even tomorrow, I'll be here, Signimet campus entire day. So tomorrow, anytime you can come. Even anyone, not from IT, anyone from any other faculties, any departments, because you belong to Signimet. So it's our responsibility to consider each of the Signimet students. Okay, I think that's good for today. Thank you so much. I'm happy, and I'll be happy to further provide suggestion, counseling from evidence, from my understanding and my experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for joining this session, and special thanks to Dr. Bodhi once again. This was very informative and very engaging session. Before we end it, I will provide a webinar feedback form for you all so we can know better what are your thinking about this webinar and how helpful it was for you so we can get the feedback. If possible, all of you, please fill out the form. We would really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining once again. Have a good day. Bye.